Hey yo, welcome back to the boat. The name is Gearhart, the game is Pokemon, and today I have my Week 2 battle versus the Chaos Hydreigons, coached by Magma Pulse. If you want to check them out, go ahead. But this is the post-game where I'm kind of going over my plan and what I wanted to do, what I didn't want to do, and what I wanted to do. So basically, Sunny Day was kind of like there. If you hadn't seen my team builder, well, there you go. Because at this point, I am just doing stuff. So I'm going to put my team up here because I accidentally deleted the video on my Versus recorder thinking it was the tryout battle. So I'm seeing here as he does not actually have Heliolisk, but instead he had brought the Chandelure, which kind of is bad because I don't really have a solid switch in if that thing is not choiced in any way. Because he could have Energy Ball for Vaporeon, and he obviously has Fire Attack for Venusaur, so that could be a problem. And everything else I kind of predicted. The Latios was on my list of things that he could bring, but I knew more or less in my testings that he was going to bring the Slowbro, Escavalier, and the Conkeldurr. So, as we go into this battle, this is going to be a live battle, so it's going to look kind of like Cooper's except from a capture card, so keep that in mind. So he's going to open up with Knight here, as I open up with Lomo again, because I felt like something would be better happening going open to this, because I just couldn't go into anything else. So I switch into Ajax. I bet he wasn't even thinking about this, because I am just going to go into this to intimidate him, and he's actually going to knock off the Heat Rock, which is kind of unfortunate because I don't actually need Sun looking at his team, because once again he didn't bring Rain, but luckily I didn't prepare too much for Rain other than the 3 Pokemon, Vaporeon, Staraptor, and the Venusaur. That was it. But Ajax putting in work. Look how much damage that Iron Head does from a -1 Escavalier to a physically defensive Staraptor. I am enjoying this, but I am going to go for the Brave Bird because that should do a little bit of damage, just a little bit, and I know I can outspeed him and get off a U-turn. Because the idea is, I went through this in planning, was that I wanted to, excuse me, I wanted to make sure that I could knock it out with Giga Drain, and I was just afraid of Psyshock because I felt like, well, Scald or Psyshock, but I wasn't gonna go into Venusaur here, and I'm glad I didn't because that Ice Beam is bad. Because I was thinking, should I go into Venusaur now? Because I went through this moment many times in my head and on Showdown test battles. So Slowbro's here, and I pretty much can't do anything to this thing. So it's basically a stalemate at this point because all I have to attack him is Scald. I have Sunny Day, Wish, and Baton Pass, but he is going to withdraw. I think I just send out Wish here. Yeah, I just throw up a Wish right there. And now, I'm kind of worried at this point because I don't actually know if this thing is special or physical. So I just basically have to bite the bullet. And pretty much, I can't really do much, is what I'm trying to say. Because I could Scald him, but that's not going to get me anywhere because it's quad resisted. So, I could also Baton Pass. But instead, I just go ahead and go with Sunny Day. Sunny Day is probably the best option because it really, I couldn't really do anything. I could have Baton Passed into something, but I still didn't know if it was special or physical at that point. It was kind of hard. At this point, you might see this lag, the recording. That's because I think I was looking for stuff. But at this point, I just happen to stay in. I can't run the risk of this being physical, and I go out into something that can't take a physical hit, and I lose it. So I'm just playing it safe. I'm going to stay in. He's obviously Focus Energy, Scope Lens, Sniper, which is just going to completely crit 100% of the time, every time. And I'm just going to go Baton Pass just so I can see what he is and then switch out. I find out he's actually special, which means I can just drop in Venusaur. The sun is up, so I do outspeed his Kingdra here. So I can just go ahead and do that. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop in for the first time, Iwakuma, because it's replacing the closer, Fernando Rodney, because Fernando Rodney lost his closer job, and that's why he got cut from the Seattle Seahawhuchas. Well, not really. It was a lot of dead weight, too many weaknesses, and it stacked on me, so Venusaur was a better choice. It gives me a couple more stuff to deal with. At this point, I'm calculating to see whether or not I can take an Ice Beam, or I'm pretty sure that's what I do, because I'm pretty sure I drop an Iwakuma here. I'm pretty confident. I just had this battle. Yep, there it is. There's Iwakuma. Alright, so at this point, I'm thinking that there's no real other point. HP Fire is going to do nothing, and I have Grass Knot for the Mega Swampert, because Giga Drain isn't a one-hit kill if he has stuff, and he's going to crit me. He is going to crit me, but at this point, I looked at it in the battle, he only did about 90 damage to me, so I'm thinking that was a roll, so I should live one more, even if it's crit in. I live on 1. I live on 1. So, saving grace. So at this point, like I said before, Venusaur is dead weight at this point. So I'm just, well, not necessarily fully dead weight, but it was enough to where I'm just going to go ahead and stay in here. Because looking at it, Venusaur isn't really necessary for me to win. And pretty much I could not get some real hard damage with this HP Fire. The sun fades, so I was hoping the sun would be up at this point, but unfortunately the sun is not up, so it's going to do a little bit over half. But I know this, I went through testing 1,000 times at this point, and I know I can outspeed, get my speed up, and a return will knock this thing out. So that's going to be nice for Mr. Felix here, getting his first KO of the season, knocking out a special wall. So that means Greninja can have enough to deal with right now. Greninja's going to have fun here. But he's going to go with Turnip Peach just because he thinks he can take anything. Well, a little bit funny thing about that. I put on X-Scissor on this thing, knowing that Slowbro could be a problem if I don't have X-Scissor or anything that can super affect his Slowbro. So, once again, I'm just going to go for the X-Scissor, because I planned for this. I planned for this moment, because I didn't want to be walled by anything. In fact, I don't think it would have been walled by anything, but I would have had to switch out if he brought in his Latios here at this point. But I do go ahead and drop this X-Scissor. Man, I think I planned very well. I was very confident, but I do drop this X-Scissor. He's going for the Ice Beam. I was calculating how much an Ice Beam would do. It did about that much, pretty much. Well, technically it said about 53%. I did a little bit more. That's either a high roll or he has special investments. But at this point, I'm just going to go for a knockoff, because there's no real reason to not go for knockoff. It will knock off any item on his team. It'll also knock out the Slowbro, but he just goes ahead and just throws his Kingler out to the fire. Just comes in and just gets knocked off and dies. So he goes out and does Latios here. I can't stay in because I know I don't outspeed him, and I need this pincer around. So he's going to go for the Draco Meteor. I'm going to live that, but I can't live another one, so at this point, Vaporeon at this point was kind of a little bit, I wouldn't say completely dead weight, but at this point I could go into something else. Pretty much, well, I mean, I couldn't go into something else, but he's at -4 after Vaporeon's going to drop here. The idea was I can't really switch out. Vaporeon's done some work. He's down a couple of Pokemon, so Vaporeon, I'm okay with Vaporeon going down here because I have other things to deal with things. So at this point, I just calcing it. Well, I'm not calcing, I'm just thinking about it because he's at -4. I can take anything that this Latios wants to do. So I'm going to go drop in Kano here and Pursuit Trap him. Now, he had to realize a Pursuit was coming. He had to. I would have just stayed in and just hit something, but maybe he didn't want to. I mean, I would have just to get damage on this thing because I felt like the Pursuit was super obvious. But he's going to drop in his Conkeldurr here, and once again, I cannot. I just immediately go into my physically defensive Staraptor. It's unbelievable how well this thing does work because I can just take an Ice Punch. I can Roost, but at this point of the battle, I was thinking, I click Roost there. The battle timer is already off, and I'm thinking, crap, why did I just do that? Why did I just do that? He can just hit me with a fighting move and just kind of do some damage to me, but instead he doesn't. And Ajax, back up to full. The only issue is I don't have a switch in for the Chandelure anymore because everything gets gets hit hard by this thing, except for my Greninja. But the Greninja doesn't appreciate a Fire Blast from a Chandelure. So what I end up doing here is I just drop my Staraptor. That's pretty much what I do. Because the Staraptor, while it's a good switch in to his Conkeldurr, I have other ways to deal with the Conkeldurr. Not necessarily switches, but enough that I can just switch into things. And at this point, I just drop in Kano, Earthquake it. I know he's not Scarfed. I can just completely Earthquake it. And that's what he did. And I just dropped the Earthquake. And the Chandelure's going to go down. I'm going to get another Moxie Boost the second time. So Crocodile's here, sitting on a nice +1, and I'm pretty sure that maybe a +1 max adamant attack, you know the drill, might take it out. I'm not sure, but I'm just going to go ahead with it. I'm at +1, and he's going to go for the Ice Punch for some reason. Drain Punch would have been a lot better, so I'm not sure. Unfortunately, he's going to get the freeze here, and I had no choice. There's no reason to stay in, switch out, rather. But luckily, I get the first turn Thaw, which is going to be great, which is going to ensure that I win. Even though he got his HP up a little bit with his Slowbro, I'm at +2 max attack, And Kano is here getting the final sweep off, and we do pick up the 3-0 win. So that was a good game. Looking back on it, the plan was to, if he had rain, just use the sun against him, but if he didn't have rain, then just overwhelm him with stuff, with just power. And that's pretty much, I used the plan B, because he didn't have manual rain. But like I said, I was surprised to not see Heliolisk, so that's a battle. If you enjoyed, we will now be looking at our next game, which is against Tyler and the Portland Timbers. Now, it's going to be I call this the I-5 rivalry because the Seattle Sonics and the Portland Trailblazers had something called the I-5 rivalry until Clay Bennett stole them, the Sonics. So we're going to go ahead and go over his team right now. But before I continue, I just need to say a disclaimer. There's nothing really to go over with that Week 2 match because there was 2 plans. One of them prevailed. We got the 3-0 win, so nothing really much to talk about there because everything worked to my liking. Now, anyways, we play next week the Portland Timbers, coached by Tyler, Brownie Boy TB. His team is Landers, Team Mew, Breloom, Milotic, Alakazam, Terrakion, Galvantula, Zoroark, Miltank, and Mega Aggron. His team looks like a headache because he could have web support. He has the Terrakion. He has Intimidate with Landorus. Mew can be anything. Breloom can Spore me. Milotic is a headache as well. Alakazam is a revenge killer. Zoroark is annoying with its illusion garbage. Miltank. Oh, well, Miltank is just Miltank, so it could be annoying. Mega Aggron is just such a force to deal with. It's going to be hard. So, I'm not going to spoil anything right here because I don't want to give him any ideas. But all his Pokemon look threatening. He's been here since the original season because he created the LBA. So, it's going to be a tough match, but I hope we can win it and move on to 2-1 because right now we are 1-1 plus 2. Kind of like where we were in the Primal Battle League, except we were at a much lower differential because we got blown out Week 1. But anyways, so I hope you enjoyed this post-game, pre-game little video here. Crack the like button if you did enjoy and subscribe if you want to see more LBA videos. I will catch you next time. But remember, please, as always, have a good day and just do what? It sounds so lame. I gotta get used to it though, because I can't think of any more outros.